February 10th, you decided that
Can
you're
I
going
ask
to
you to call me Ralph, please?
Okay, Ralph. Oh my goodness, Miss McLean would never, she would never approve, but oh boy. Okay, Ralph. Since you crossed the floor February 10th, it's about 7 months that has
Yes,
happened,
yes,
isn't it? seven
yes, yes,
months, and
yes,
I was
yes.
thinking about that today as I was preparing, and a symbolism came to mind, and it's a phoenix. And I found
Mhm.
this quote online that says, "Like a phoenix from the ashes, you rise. Full stop. Full stop.
You know,
Stronger."
it's interesting, Marcia, because last night we had a constituency meeting in St. Philip North, and you speak of the Phoenix Rising, and I was asked to speak, and Kimar will tell you that I delivered one of the shortest speeches I've ever delivered, and I read a poem in tribute to the ladies. It was an all ladies speakers meeting, and I read "Still I Rise" by Maya Angelou. So it's interesting that we're on the theme of rising out of the ashes, and
Well,
It's
I
interesting,
then
but
that's
it's
the symbolism that came, and I read it again. Like a phoenix from the ashes, you rise. Full stop. Stronger, because I'm watching
you're
you.
hearing me. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. I think we're breaking up a little. Um, can you hear? Yes, you're hearing.
Uh,
Because I'm watching and I'm seeing what
Are you
means what.
hearing me?
Apparently,
We're
he's
hearing
not
you. Yes,
hearing
we're hearing
us.
you now.
He may not be hearing us,
He's not hearing
Marcia.
us.
I think we have
Okay.
video,
Yeah.
but no sound.
Yes, he's not hearing us. Okay, so Dave will
I'm
call
hearing
in.
you again. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, we're back again. It's the internet.
Yes,
It's the
it could be.
internet.
Marcia, just very quickly, it's
Is it on my? Is it
interesting.
on my end?
1 second, Dr. Ferdinand. Let's
Yeah,
start. Yes.
yeah. It's possible it's on your end, Rob, because we are hearing you very clearly.
Oh, well, let me adjust. Let me turn off something here that may be competing with
Okay.
this. Could you
All
excuse
right.
me 1 second, please?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. No.
absolutely.
No problem. Yes, you were saying, Dr. Ferdinand.
No, I
Yes.
was just saying, it's interesting to hear you talk about Phoenix arising from the ashes. Do you know how many times I've told Ralph that? I have said to him over and over that I see the party like a phoenix arising from the ashes. And it's just interesting. I don't think I've ever expressed that to you. And
No.
to hear you now come out with it, they tell you in the mouth of two or three witnesses, the truth is established. And it's so intriguing now to sit here and hear you express the very said same words that I've expressed to himself and one or two other persons. To hear you do it, is just amazing. And so I don't know if there's something prophetic in this.
Yes. Yes.
I see
Yes.
him back there. Can we add him again? Let's see if we've been able
Yes. Let's see.
overcome that. Are you hearing us? Are you hearing us
Yes.
okay,
I
Ralph?
Yes. Yes. Okay. We
Yes,
can hear
I
you.
am. I am. Thank you
Okay,
very
We
much.
yes,
can
good,
hear you.
Thank you.
good.
What I was saying earlier, Ralph, Mr. Thorne, I have to
Yes.
say Mr. Thorne. What I was hearing, what we were saying earlier is that it's been 7 months, and I mean everything I have been thrown at you. The fire, you've been through the fire, the water, the flood,
Mhm.
the hurricane, the storm, and we're looking on, and I'm looking on. I have to say, as a leader, I've been, I'm a leader in my own business, in my own organization, and looking on and just gaining so much strength from you. But I want to ask you, sir, how are you doing? How are you doing? Because we are looking on, we see you take on, all the different things that are being thrown at you, and but you seem so strong. How are you doing?
I think Reverend John Carter might be able to answer that question for
I,
you.
Eileen, Marcia, I lean not unto my own understanding. In all my ways I acknowledge him, and he shall direct my path. And I mean that. I really do mean
Yes.
that. Uh, you know, if my look, John Wesley, my Sunday school teacher, must be so happy. to hear me say that. Uh, we've lost each other again.
No, we're
No,
hearing
no,
you loud and
we're
clear.
hearing you loud and clear, and we can't
Oh,
see you.
oh. No, I suppose the older you become, and the more rooted you become in your experiences, you recognize the value of the spirit that guides you. I suppose for some people that spirit relates to their religion and the kind of religion they practice. My religion is Christian, and therefore the spirit that guides me is the God that I know about through the Christian tradition. And I'm saying that to say that I have not leaned on my own understanding. You learn patience. Uh, I tell people that a large part of wisdom contains patience. You learn to be very patient with people. You're not arrogant. Uh, as the Desiderata says, even the dull and ignorant, they have a story. And sometimes
Yes,
we think people are dull, but
yes.
they're not dull. They can they can lead you. I always said uh, the person, and I think she may be listening. A lot of people, I confess that a lot of people had been telling me about crossing the floor. I mean, this was obviously it was a personal decision, uh, and I told people I had three conversations. The first one was with myself. The second one was with my family. I said yes. My family said yes. And the third one was with God. And unless I had had those three conversations, I would not have done it. But I tell you, God sent people to me, and I really believe that. And I told this story before, and I'm going to. It will continue to be my testimony. The day I went to the supermarket, and when I was leaving, this lady followed me, and she said, "Look, I'm following you. I haven't had my groceries yet." She knows who she is. She knows who she is. I just call her EG. And she followed me from the supermarket. She had not purchased her groceries. I had purchased mine. And she walked with me to my car, elderly lady. And she said, "Look, I've been listening to your speeches in Parliament." And the conversation progressed. And I asked her, "What do you think I should do?" And she told me. She told me. I'd never met her. And she came all the way from St. Philip to the Massey store in Oistins, the Massey supermarket in Oistins.
Mhm.
And I could have gone to Massey Oistins at any other time. She could have gone to Emerald City, and you can charge Mr. Bino for the ad. But she drove past Emerald City and came to Oistins. And Ferdy, you hear testimony a lot. This is mine. And we could have been anywhere at that point in time. I was there and she was there. And you, as you grow older, you learn that that is not happenstance. That's not luck. That's not chance. That is
Nothing just
providence
happens.
placing you
Nothing just happens.
there at that point in time, where she followed me from the supermarket and we conversed, never met each other before. We were
Yes.
total strangers, Marcia. And we had a conversation. And you're hearing me?
We're hearing you
Oh, good.
now.
Yes,
Yes.
People
yes.
have been speaking to me before, but yeah, I want to describe that conversation as the pivotal conversation. Yeah, obviously I had, the thoughts had been in my mind. I knew that I had reached a point where it was untenable. I mean, I've said it before. I say it again. I used to think that I was sounding good and diplomatic and walking a tightrope. And as I've said before, I say it again. It reaches a point where diplomacy sounds like hypocrisy, and you do have to take that leap, even into the dark, and a leap into the dark. That is faith.
Yes.
And there are times when my faith has not been strong. I confess that.
Yes.
A gentleman from my constituency wrote me one of the most beautiful letters I've ever received by WhatsApp. And I wrote back to him and said, "Man, you must have been inspired." Because, and I've kept it. And I just want to say that God sent people to me to speak to me. I don't I did not experience the ritual of a voice in my head somewhere, or a voice descending from heaven to speak to me. I think the voice of God. I'm with you again.
Yes,
Yes,
you're with us
yes,
again.
we can hear you.
I think I think I think the voice of God came to me through God's people. I really do. And here I am 7 months later. Uh, it's been turbulent. It's not been smooth. You know that. The public knows that, and it continues. It continues. Uh, you read social media, and I want to say this. I must say this. I do want to say this, that there are persons out there who sit in opposition to what I do, to what I have done, to what I do comfortably. My conscience, I have no conscientious difficulty at all. And what I'm noticing on social media, I'm talking about Facebook, and well, I don't do IG, but Facebook. There is a certain violent aggression that is now coming from persons who support the government. There's an anger, and I go back to the first term, this violent aggression. Uh, a few months ago, they were, a lot of them were coy and they were playful and they were just saying things. Oh, this is going to come to nothing. And something is happening in Barbados. Something is happening in Barbados,
Yes, yes,
and
absolutely.
yes, there is something happening,
Hmm.
and it is manifesting even among people who may not want to have it manifested among themselves. That I'm reading it every day. I see it. I saw it today. Sometimes you hear it on the call-in programs. If I hear it, I'm in my car, I'm going along, and there's a violent aggression on the part of people who support the government, and that is telling me something. That is telling me that maybe the government is losing its way. Maybe the government is losing its popularity. I don't know, but the people who support the government fanatically, I want to say to them, and those who do it on Facebook, I want to say to them that they must begin to watch how they speak to people. They must begin to watch, to listen to themselves, and observe the things that they write and their manner, and this element of hostility, this element of what I call violent aggression in language, because violence does not only reside in actions and physical actions. Violence exists in word and thought uh, before it becomes deed. A man who kills another man, he's had that thought in his mind before. And I want to caution those persons who are occupying the media, and I go as far as to say mainstream media as well, uh, to come face to face with their own attitude, their own conduct, their own behavior towards people who are not supporting the government. We are unapologetic about that. I sit in a constitutional office which requires me to constructively oppose the government. I don't do this with any personal hostility. It is my duty. And if I see something going wrong in this country, if I see something going wrong in government, I have a duty to say it, and I will say it, and I will fight against it. So that I want to say to them that their violent aggression towards what we do, I'm a very stubborn man when I get ready. And the more violent and aggressive they become, the more I will pursue this calling, the more I will pursue this duty, this national duty, and I will pursue it with greater vigor. If they want a civil exchange, I can give them a civil exchange. And I will meet their aggression with civility. But as I've said before a few weeks ago, they must not mistake civility for weakness. I
Ah,
pursue this with
There you go.
the
That's right.
strength,
That's right.
all the strength that God gives me. I will continue to do it. As I've
wow.
said, I sit in parliament, one against, 28, because the speaker is supposed to be impartial.
Supposed
And
to be.
I've always said, yeah, supposed to be. I've always said, and it's become a phrase attached to me. I'm alone, but I'm not lonely.
Mhm.
I know I'm not lonely. Every car park I walk across, Marcy and Ferdy and Kimar, every car park I walk across, and Ralph, keep fighting. I went to an Automart yesterday. Inside the Automart, three men all said the identical thing. Keep fighting, Ralph. Keep fighting, Mr. Thorne. And of course, one engaged me in conversation inside. I get that a lot. I get that a lot. And it reaffirms the faith. As I told Dave this evening, he and I had an exchange, and I thank him for reaffirming my faith and restoring my faith. Not necessarily in self, but in my fellow human beings, that there are people out there who feel cause. So that I see myself as being part of a cause. And before I became a part of this cause, Marcia, as I said to you earlier, I'm not here to flatter you. You were a part of this cause long before I crossed the floor. And when I was introduced last night, I felt so proud when the young lady introduced me as a member of the Coalition of the Righteous. And you know where that came from, Marcia.
But that's your term. That's you came and you put the term on us.
We're not self-righteous. We are not self-righteous because our work is
Love
rooted
it.
in something noble.
Yes.
Our work is rooted in goodness and a willingness to do God's work. And you
Yes.
can't
Yes.
do God's work. You can't do God's work unless you intend to alleviate the suffering of the dispossessed, the disrespected, the downtrodden. You know, you can't properly do God's work. That's why a lot of service organizations, Lions and Rotary and Kiwanis, where do they go? They go among the poor,
Yes.
because that is where God sends us. If you want to make the world a better place, where did Christ go? He went among the criminals, the vagabonds, the street corners.
Well, he
He
was
didn't go
even
into the
thought
temple. He didn't go into the high place.
he was even considered to be one.
And that's, but there
Yes.
we are. There we are. There we
Yes.
are.
But
So that is my that is my testimony, Marcia. That is where I'm
yes.
rooted. I am at my age. I tell people, look, even if I try, even if I try to pursue wealth now, I'm not going to succeed. I'm not going to succeed. You know, that time has passed. My endeavors are noble. My endeavors are very serious, and there are a lot of people in this country suffering, and they're suffering in silence. And I
Yes.
accept with honor that it is my voice in a parliament that will speak for the suffering, that will speak for the dispossessed, that will speak for the disrespected, that will speak for the downtrodden. And they're a lot more than we think. You don't have to be living in an old shack on a hillside to be dispossessed, disrespected. You know, you don't have to be. There are people in good bungalows tonight, good wall bungalows. And the cliche is they're living one paycheck to another. That's suffering too. They're old people in a house by themselves awaiting death. And while they wait death, they're lonely. I mean, we're younger, we don't know the experience of loneliness, but loneliness is a dreadful thing. So that suffering is not only material deprivation, it is psychological, it's emotional. So there is a lot of suffering in this country, and government, social agencies, and government must spend its vast resources trying to alleviate the suffering of people. When I speak of the suffering of people, I'm not talking about what we call the ghetto. It's not a term I like, but I'm not talking about the ghetto alone. Of course, there's a lot of suffering there. There's obvious suffering there. There must be obvious suffering in those areas. When a 12-year-old child gets shot through her wrist, why did that happen? Why does that have to happen in Barbados? Somebody is failing.
Sad, sad.
Yes.
Somebody's failing the children of this country.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that's my testimony. That's how I
Wow.
come to this place. That's how I come to this office. Uh, and I say again to mainstream and social media, let us have civil exchange. If people want progress, Let us have some civil exchange. But I repeat, do not mistake my civility for weakness. I intend to press on.
Wow,
I
and
intend to.
that's exactly what we're seeing, and it is being done. I wrote here, I would pursue aggression with civility, and that's what we see
Yes.
that is happening. You had an amazing weekend, this
Yes,
weekend,
excellent.
from the public brief that you had, Miss Berla de Pisa on brass tacks. Everybody's talking about that, and
Yes,
then you had the meeting in St. Philip with all the women, planned
yes,
actually by
yes,
a
yes.
young woman.
Uh,
I mean, a very young woman.
Marcia,
Yes.
I felt so proud on Saturday morning. Uh, you know, the group dynamic. And I got a snatch of blind speaking about my the style and content of my leadership. That it is not about me. That I wish on Saturday that everyone could have spoken, because I believe that leadership uh, involves not, as Blind said, you can be you can establish yourself as the leader, but you don't have you can be dominant, but not domineering. And I love the distinction. Um, I think you need to bring out the best in people that you claim to lead. You need to ask them to dig into themselves, to reach into themselves, reach into their souls, and show what you're worth, show what you have. It is not a rivalry; it is a joint effort, and that is how I see my position, my role of leadership, to ask all of those persons in that room on Saturday, those beautiful human beings who were so well dressed. And you know how many people called me and told me, Ralph, y'all look so good. And it wasn't the suits, and it wasn't the ties and the dresses and so on. It was a joining of souls, of political souls, in unison, in harmony, wishing each other well. Verla was brilliant,
Yeah.
um, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Um, Felicia, absolutely brilliant,
Dawn
and
Marie.
Doctor
Dawn Marie
Don
as
Marie.
well.
I mean Don Marie. a few a few people called me after. Lots of people called me about Don Marie. I don't think they'd ever really been exposed to Don Marie in the way in which she expressed herself. Don Marie has a doctorate in and we must respect education. Don Marie has a doctorate in sports psychology, and she was so fluent. And I hope she doesn't hold this against me, or anybody connected to her. After the first call came from a very senior public servant in Barbados, um, all the males that call after, I said, "You're in love, right?"
That
Because
what?
I want me to repeat that. Ferdy heard it.
I
When,
sure did.
yes,
I,
when
I
they
think
called
I
about
heard.
Dawn, when they were calling about Dawn, and she was so calm. She was
Yes.
so calm, and Dawn was expressing what she has learned as a sports psychologist, and she was so brilliant. She was fluent. I mean, Felicia, of course, very passionate, and Verla,
Burnout.
very studied, very engaged with her
Poised.
topic, very engaged. With, excellent, excellent, and the
And
support. The three ladies, the support from gentlemen, no egos, and everybody's. When I was watching it, I was looking at the facial expressions, and our good friend, our senior colleague, Richard Steele,
Yes, I was
he saw
watching.
the looks of approval, and he smiled.
Yes,
There
yes.
was no animosity flowing in that group. It was a beautiful group dynamic, and I think if I am to get any marks for leadership, I think I'm encouraging a group of mutual respect. You don't have to love each other, but begin by respecting each other. Begin by wanting to be part of a cause. Yes, wanting to be part of a cause that is noble, that is righteous, that intends to uplift this nation. And I say nation, meaning that we are here to join in the cause of uplifting this nation. We genuinely feel We genuinely feel that the government has stumbled and that the government does need some help, but more than the government needing help, that is not for us to do. The people of this country need help. The institutions of this country need help. The institutions of this country are in crisis. And that crisis manifested itself between what was it? When was the Prime Minister's press conference? Friday, was it? Thursday?
Yes.
Thursday.
I believe it was Thursday.
Thursday. Yes. That crisis in government manifested itself between Thursday and Sunday night because the news came
Correct.
to us while we were in St. Philip on Sunday night. This is a prime minister making an announcement, an important announcement. And 24, 48 hours later, her attorney general, these are not ordinary citizens. These are citizens who occupy high office. And the people
Before
of
you
this
even
country,
get there, before you even get there, I want to, I want us to really look at that, but I want to stay a little bit on leadership. And,
yes,
and to say that, when I saw Dr. Freddie, when I saw Richard Seeley, standing up there at the when you asked
yes,
everybody to stand up, and I said, I knew you were going to do that because you wanted everybody to at least
yes,
open their mouths. I kind of kind of read. I was watching 2 hours
yes,
later, and I said, I bet you he's going to do that. And you
yes,
had everybody stand up, and you saw Mr. David Eswick as
yes,
well.
yes,
And
yes,
you think, I mean, they have like probably 8, 9 years
yes,
experience, and
yes,
they were saying nothing and sitting in the back and
yes,
support.
yes.
And I
Humility,
thought the
humility, the power
humility.
of humility. Yeah. And
Well,
Dr. Eswick did a presentation to the group of spokespersons 2 Saturdays ago. When I got home, I had to write to David. I mean, the quality of it. And I have told both Dr. Eswick and Richard Seeley that they have to bring their ministerial experience, their experience in government, because Marcia, we're all rookies. We're all
Yes,
rookies coming into this thing. And we feel blessed to have these two gentlemen with us. And like you, I watched it and I said, here's Dr. Eswick sitting in the back. Here's Richard. And these are men who have served at the very highest level in a room full of rookies, but eager rookies, people eager to do well by their country. And these two senior men are sitting there and they're not up front.
they're not up
And
front.
they're not up front. They're not up front. No ego. Just
Yes,
wanting to be a part of a team. And I have told Richard and David that we expect and we want their leadership based on their experience in government. Yeah, and I'm not shy about saying that publicly. They're there for a good reason. And I
yes.
I, I believe we're going to do well. I
Yes,
believe we're going to do
I believe so too. On the matter of leadership, I want to say that the meeting in St. Philip, I was also, I was like, wow, when I saw the presentation, just the look of the place, and
well.
I didn't even know the content as yet, and to know that that was by a young woman,
Yes,
is the person who put that together. I mean,
yes,
I was because I she's been on this show, and Janine Butcher, I think is her
yes,
last name. And
yes,
I remember she also presented in Parliament. I was so shy to do it, and then to
yes,
see her do something like this, I said, look, you guys are empowering. You're on your team. You're empowering young
yes,
people.
yes,
And she said to me today, she said, Marcia, what really, really touched me was when Mr. Thorne came in. Do you know what he did? I said, what did he do? She said, he went and sat in the crowd. He did
yes,
not assume that he must be up at the front. And I thought about whether to say it tonight when I came on. But because we're talking about leadership, I have to be honest. It's something that I was thinking about all of today. And she's saying to me, I've been with the party and I've never seen that. And
yes,
that is what I believe is where your strength is coming from. Where I ask you, how have you been doing over the last 7 months? And I think it's your your attention to the needs of the people, and wanting, your heart is wanting to be humble, to walk in
Yeah.
humility. Of course, nobody's
Yeah.
going to get that. Humility is not something you get right every time. But as a
Experience.
young person, that stuck out to her more than anything else for the entire night. Isn't that something?
I'm happy to hear that. And after the meeting, Janine came over to me and asked me, how was it? She asked me how was it, and I had to congratulate her for putting it together. And I want to say to you publicly that she was criticized for bringing this meeting of this nature with all ladies to St. Philip, and she endured. She endured. I said to her, I mean, you had a full room for one, and everybody there. I tell you, Marcia, there's a and Ferdy, there's a spirit. There's a spirit that is pervading the party, and I hope we will sustain it, because I know there will be difficult times. You're dealing with people. Yeah, you're dealing with people, um, and you will always get some problem. The ego comes to the fore, and there's always a reason to hit a bumpy road. But there's a spirit that's pervading the party, and I don't think it is me. I think people, there's a mutual agreement among everyone. Let us make this work. Let us make this wholesome. Let us have a cause. Let us have a vision. Let us have a mission. And that mission, obviously, is to occupy government and to bring integrity into government, bring integrity into public life. And I cannot be a part of it, Marcy. And I'm not saying this because I can. I cannot be a part of anything that does not embrace honesty and integrity in public life. I have not traveled this road to play the fool on the people's time. I really have not done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to congratulate my colleagues again, Don, Felicia, Verla, brilliant. Shakwani, we forgot Shakwani. Shakwani spoke last night. Uh, Amoy spoke last night. Oh my goodness, who else? Janine obviously spoke last night. There's a young lady. I sat next to her actually, and I kept saying to her, "You're pretending to be shy, but you got to go on that platform and speak." And Melissa is our spokesperson, I think, on elder affairs, or ambassador on elder affairs. So I want to congratulate Melissa as well. Uh, while I spoke for the 5 minutes that I spoke, I congratulated Annette Wood, Miss Annette Wood, who has taken the headquarters of the party. She has taken it. Um, there's
Oh,
Donna
yeah.
Hines. You know Donna, of course. I first met Donna at one of your marches. There's Kelly Conley. There's Miss St. Philip West, Hazel Brewster. These, and I call them warriors. These are the women warriors that have carried us over the turbulent times that we have had. These are the women warriors who stuck in there, who stayed the course, who defended the cause, and who believed in something. We haven't reached our destination yet, but I hope to God we get there. I really do. And these women have taken us. And I'm not saying this as a reaction to anything else that is going on elsewhere, because I'm not going to comment on that. I'm not going
Yeah.
to comment on that. But we are resting in good hands, Marcia. Marcia and Ferdy, we are resting in good hands. And we have faith.
That's
Faith
You
is
wonderful.
know,
tested, but we have
And
faith.
to your team, at the opposition office, which
Beautiful.
Kimar is part of that team from day one.
Yes,
Kimar was
yes,
always part of
yes,
that
yes,
team, Monday to Friday, at the leader of the opposition's office, involved in research. And
yes,
there's
yes.
David, who carries a lot of that, and I don't know all the names of the ladies and everybody there, but I just want to give a big shout out to the office of the leader of the opposition right there in
Derek
town.
Allen, Dr. Derek Allen,
Yes.
David Boeing, Kelly Conliffe, and Petra King,
Yes, yes, along with Kimar here. So
along with Kimar. Of course, you mentioned Kimar. Yes, yes,
yes, yes, and they all make up the team there
yes,
at the leader of the opposition, and because you need that office to be strong and good,
yes,
and so that you push off from there, and they're doing an amazing an
An
amazing
amazing
job.
job. An amazing
But
job, yeah.
but we back to now, so we can now pick up where we you know what you were going to mention something earlier.